I've been really encouraged this week by the elders' devotionals, and I just wanted to jump back on the topic of the harvest being plentiful, the laborers being few. I'm going to read from Matthew 27, verse 62, and this is right after Jesus was buried. The next day, that is, after the day of preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered before Pilate and said, "Sir, we remember how that impostor said while he was still alive, 'After 3 days I will rise.' Therefore order the tomb to be made secure until the third day, lest his disciples go and steal him away and tell the people, 'He has risen from the dead.' And the last fraud will be worse than the first." Pilate said to them, "You have a guard of soldiers. Go and make it as secure as you can." So they went and made the tomb secure by sealing the stone and setting a guard. So Pilate says, "You can do whatever you want. I have already assigned a group of Roman soldiers to you to protect the temple. Go use them and make the tomb as secure as you want." Now I'm going to skip over the resurrection passage, which you read this Sunday, and going over to verse 11 of chapter 28, the report of the guard. This is after the resurrection happens. While they were going, behold, some of the guard went into the city and told the chief priests all that had taken place: the great earthquake, the angels, the soldiers being knocked to their faces in fear. And when they had assembled with the elders and taken counsel, they gave a sufficient sum of money to the soldiers and said, "Tell the people, his disciples came by night and stole him away while we were asleep. And if this comes to the governor's ears, we will satisfy him and keep you out of trouble." So they took the money and did as they were directed. And this story has been spread among the Jews to this day. You have here one of the greatest scandals of all time. It's a win-win situation for the Pharisees and the chief priests. It's a win for the Roman soldiers. See, for the Pharisees, the chief priests, this was a way to suppress Jesus, suppress the message of the resurrection. They would do anything to retain their power. And for the Roman soldiers, you see, they were at risk of execution for letting this happen under their watch, especially in a foreign country. And so it's a win-win situation, a great scandal. And what I wanted to share here, the reason I'm sharing this is that some people will do anything to suppress the gospel. They will do anything to hold on to their power. Even the message of the resurrection is not enough for them. We see something similar in Acts 17, where Paul is preaching to the men of Athens. They're really intrigued by his preaching. He does a brilliant job. But when he gets to the section where he says, when he talks about the resurrection of Jesus, they all start laughing. A lot of them start laughing. They mock him because they were too wise for that. They thought that there was no such thing as a resurrection. And so, again, people rejecting the resurrection. The enemy will do anything he can to spread lies, to tell Christians that, hey, it's too scary. It's people are going to reject you. People are going to mock you. They're going to laugh at you. There's a whole host of lies he will continue to tell you to try to keep you on that bench. And my reminder to you today is that Jesus himself said to his disciples, if they reject you, it's because they rejected me first. So not to worry about rejection, not to worry about what people will think of you or the consequences, because Jesus told us firsthand that that would happen. And so I want to go back to today's passage, Matthew 12, and I just want to read the prophecy from Isaiah. This is in verse 18, and it correlates with Isaiah 42. "Behold, my servant whom I have chosen, my beloved with whom my soul is well pleased. I will put my spirit upon him, and he will proclaim justice to the Gentiles. He will not quarrel or cry aloud, nor will anyone hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not quench, until he brings justice to victory. And in his name the Gentiles will hope. And this prophecy is fulfilling the fact that Jesus just kind of withdrew. But I just really wanted to point out the two phrases here. It says, he will proclaim justice to the Gentiles. And verse 21, that really gave me hope. And in his name, the Gentiles will hope. You see, all of us who have received Jesus, we have been given that hope of Jesus. We have been given that hope. In his name, we have hoped. The actual Isaiah 42 prophecy that correlates with verse 21, Isaiah 42:4, it says that the coastlands will wait for his law. The coastlands will wait for his law. In his name, the Gentiles will hope. The coastlands will wait for his law. And that picture that we see, if the coastlands waiting for his law, it kind of refers to the most remote parts of the earth. The coastlands, the most outlying parts of the Mediterranean Sea, the most remote parts of the earth are hoping and waiting for the liberty, the justice, the good news of Jesus Christ. And reading that, it encourages me, but it also challenges me and reminds me that there are people at the remotest, most ends of the earth right now who have yet to hear the name of Jesus. And just an encouragement for us, church, that there are thousands upon thousands of unreached people groups who've never heard the name of Jesus, who have never read a Bible, who don't have this hope that Jesus came to this earth to give. And so I wanted to close with just a thought I had the other day. When we think about what's happening with the virus right now, we're hearing some really cool things. People who get infected and then they recover, they're donating their blood. For the sickest patients, doctors are using the plasma from recovered patients, believing that the plasma has the antibodies to fight this virus. And it just kind of reminded me of what's been done for us. We also were once sick and on the path to death. We had no hope for this terrible sickness of sin. And Jesus comes along and he gave us the good news. And for those of us who have received that good news, he dwells within us. His gospel, the hope of Jesus, dwells within us, and we have it at our disposal to share with the ends of the earth. It's not anything that we would do out of our own power. It's just all about what Jesus already did for us. And so that picture of the plasma and of what had been done for those patients, that they had been healed, and now that they could offer their blood to potentially help other patients who are at the brink of death, just really reminds me that, church, we got to be out there. There is a world that is dying. Christine was just reminding me of the fact that, we lament that 25,000 plus people have died of this virus, but how often do we lament that people every day are dying without Jesus? It's a travesty. It's a tragedy. And we have the hope. We have the gospel. And so I just want to encourage you, church, to continue to pray that the Lord would send out laborers into this harvest. Continue to pray about how he would use you to be a part of rescuing and redeeming all of mankind. In his name, the Gentiles will hope. God bless you and have a great day.